you all very much for coming, and especially to those of you who have worked with me over the years through the Agency of the Future or participated in my cause. It feels like a hit parade of my favourite people, and I've learned so much of what I know about creating collaborative advantage from people who are here today. And I very much appreciate your support, because challenging the idea of competitive advantage is not something that I would want to do on my own. You could argue that competitive advantage is the most successful idea in the history of ideas about business so far. So it's that kind of thinking that has led me to develop the concept of collaborative advantage as an alternative organising principle for strategy, and to identify the kinds of questions that I explore in the book, such as how can businesses grow more quickly and effectively by better harnessing that fuller value creating potential of the environment and the ecosystem in which they operate, and of their customers as perhaps the primary, most important creators of their own value. I'm also very much interested in how society can better address social challenges by more strongly harnessing our own collective agency, and perhaps most importantly, the agency of the groups that we might be looking to support. And I'm interested in what kinds of methods and techniques can make it easier for leaders to accelerate these processes to fulfill their goals. So I've brought three friends, collaborators, and business leaders whom I greatly admire, who are willing to explore the particular challenges in business that they have faced and face in their roles, and what the relevance of collaborative advantage might be to those challenges. So we have, fresh from being named last week, I think it was, by the Marketing Society as Marketing Leader of the Year for 2018, Mark Evans, Chief Marketing Officer of the Direct Line Insurance Group, which, as well as the Direct Line brand, includes the Churchill brand and the Green Flag brand. We have Celia Pronto, who's Chief Customer Officer for the Casual Dining Group, which, if you don't know the name Casual Dining Group, you definitely know the chains of restaurants within the group. So it's Café Rouge, Bella Italia, La Tasca, Las Iguanas, several other niche chains. And we have Steve Walker, who was Chief Marketing Officer of Sony Mobile, and now runs a consultancy called Two Sides that specialises in leadership development and brand transformation.
Really? So, in insurance, yeah, I mean, one of the most commoditized markets in the world, least trusted sector in the world. Celia and I were having a conversation about automotive retail versus insurance, but Edelman says that the UK population is the least trusting population in the world, and insurance is the least trusted sector. UK insurance least trusted sector in the world, and it's been heavily commoditized. And I suppose the obvious thing, and the link to the book, is that the sector had lost sight of its purpose, its reason to be, in the end, very fixated on price and the point of purchase, to the extent that many people literally didn't know what they're buying. And the concept of insurance is to make things good when they've gone bad, not make things worse when they've gone bad. And so the notion of outside in, that's the sort of the part of the book where the case study lives. It's so intuitively Marketing 101 to understand what the world really needs, what's missing, what's the gap, what do customers really expect and demand, and then bring that back into the organisation and create a lightning rod for a different concept. And in this case, insurance is about fixing. What else can it be? And so making that come to life through the Winston Wolfe campaign, which is all very successful, but more so than that, understanding that even the person on the Twitter handle or on the phone or wherever they are or in the garages, what would Winston Wolfe do? How do I be a fixer? So I think that the lesson here is that there's sort of gold in looking out to what's really needed. All the partnerships, internal and external, that bring that big thought to life. And I think big thoughts live off of collaboration. Very hard to bring a big thought, a really big, life-changing, industry-changing, country-changing, world-changing thought off if you're actually sort of fighting with people to get it there.
I love that concept of having a big idea and building momentum around that idea. I mean, that really gets to the heart of collaborative advantage in the book.
Right. Well, again, just echoing what Mark said, congratulations on the book. It's an amazing book. Definitely buy it, definitely read it. And I think echoes, I think inherently what we're all great at as marketeers, which is collaboration, and is working together to get our jobs done. So thank you for writing the book, Paul. So, casual dining space. I think a lot of you have probably read the headlines about casual dining space. So the nature of a restaurant and the role we play in consumers' lives has changed. And what we inherently do is we provide a social space for customers to come together, whether that's with friends or family or celebration, whatever that might be. And that fundamental insight changes how we galvanize our business, whether we're thinking about the customer experience we deliver, whether we think about the menus, the food, right through to our digital experience. So if I take an example of the digital experience, how customers want to find us has changed. Consumers are no longer necessarily planning 2-3 months in advance unless it's for a special occasion. Frequently they want to know, where can I go in the next half an hour that's going to have a table available for me.
Yeah, good question. And like my fellow panelists, I'm also going to offer my congratulations to you. I first met Paul 5 years ago, and one of the very first things he said to me was, I'm going to write a book. And here we are. So it's actually an incredible journey that we've been on together for the last 5 years. So the book is not just a triumph of collaboration, it's a triumph of perseverance. And I think collaboration can be quite difficult. I mean, it sounds great, and you've written about it in a very, very compelling way. But instinctively, not everybody wants to collaborate, even if it is a better way to deliver in the end. It's one of those things that you have to persevere, you have to be a little bit patient. And sometimes it's very easy for leaders to go back into their own little space with their own little team and think, I can just fix it myself, I don't need to collaborate. But actually, if you persevere, if you find a way to work and extend the value creation beyond your own immediate remit as a leader, then you can have the kind of impacts that you're describing in your book. But a leader has to be really committed to it, and they have to take responsibility for it. There will be many people that tell you as a leader, sort of stay in your area and I'll stay in my area, let's just get on and do the things that we're good at. So, you really have to extend beyond the things that you have authority for. It's leadership without authority, leadership with influence instead of leadership with authority. So collaboration where you're actually trying to galvanize resources that you cannot directly control, you cannot directly tell them what to do, but somehow you've got to convince them of the value of collaboration. I think we're seeing the dawn of a whole new age of leadership.
So I would just say, before we go downstairs, that a couple of things kept me going writing the book, and it was the conviction that creating collaborative advantage matters widely and urgently. So I think in terms of mattering widely, we've already seen that it can affect the holistic growth of important businesses. And in the room, there's already a much greater variety of ways in which collaborative advantage is being used to drive international development, to better address humanitarian crises, to keep people healthier, to get people enjoying sport more effectively, to grow new businesses more quickly. And of course, even this range is a drop in the ocean compared to the range of applications of collaborative advantage being pursued outside the room. And I also think it is urgent right now, perhaps because of the particular conditions of uncertainty, maybe the increasing divisions between us, the challenges of complexity, and the resource constraints that we seem to be bumping up against quite hard. For many of us, it's actually one of those unusual moments when it's very difficult to tell whether in some ways the worst is yet to come, or whether our best days can definitely lie ahead.